Well, hi again, and welcome to DTV. My name is Dina to Paige, and I do practice as a transgender life coach, and I have been for about the last 10 years or so. Today I'd like to talk about a classic example of the sorts of things that we discuss in session. It's particularly unique in that it has all of the classic things that happen when someone who's in transition and has questions about their life come to me and ask for guidance and support. This individual had called me on the phone and said, well, I'm not really sure of exactly where I'm going with all this. I think I need some help with regards to how I look, but I'm not really sure. And I'm not really sure how to come out to my family, and I'm not really sure where I'm going with all this. Could you see me? So I said, certainly, come in, and we did have a session, an introductory session, where I basically allowed this individual to express where it is that they were in life and where they wanted to go. The individual arrived, she was 27 years old and presented in what I would call a very androgynous presentation. It wasn't clear on first meeting whether or not I was to address him, her, as a male or female. However, he said that no, I'm presenting as a male, and my male name is such and such. So we began to sit down, and I said, well, how can I help you? Well, I have some issues with regards to how I look, and I don't know if I need some help on that. So I did explain that one of the things that I do is I can and do not only makeup applications and lessons, but I also do full transformations. So this individual was very excited about knowing more about that. However, after talking, it was apparent that I really needed to find out more about what was going on with this person. Was it just and I'm going to refer to him as he at this point because he wanted to refer to himself as a male at this point. He thought that his visual presentation was essentially male. However, I explained to him that the presentation is very, very important in terms of knowing where you are and where you're going. And in my opinion, he was basically very androgynous looking in appearance and presentation. And I explained to him that his efforts, his results in terms of what people may be seeing is more of an androgynous nature rather than looking at him as a male. Well, he was very surprised at hearing that because he thought that his appearance, that he was presenting very much in male persona. And I explained that he's probably farther along down the road to passing as a female than he gives himself credit. And this is a classic example of where individuals do not perceive themselves as the world perceives them. They may not be as accurate about their own views of themselves. In fact, many of us are too hard on ourselves in terms of what our expectations are and where we're going in life. Sometimes you just need an outsider to say, geez, that was really fabulous, and does the world of good both psychologically as well as give you a breath of fresh air in terms of our struggles in day-to-day life. So in terms of moving forward, I did ask whether or not, what was his relationship at home. And he had explained that he was living at home with his parents, has an older brother. They don't know, with the exception of his mother, of which she knows but is in denial and doesn't really want to talk about it. I said, well, is she supportive of you? Does she talk to you about it? And he basically said no, but she kind of wants to, but she's not sure. And I said, well, you know, she probably needs just as much guidance and help and support as you do. Because often parents and significant people around us who are witnessing transition really don't know who to go to, who do they confide in, who do they trust. The same kinds of issues that are involved with the transgendered person themselves. So he was kind of a little bit shocked at that perspective. But it is an important one, and a lot of trans people overlook that. Significant people in your lives, parents, family, relationships, they are the hardest to deal with this challenge, simply because they have known you for such a long period of time, and they only know you one way. And now you're presenting a brand new person, a brand new individual, and they don't know this new person. So it's almost as if there has been a death in the family, and this new person, and in many cases, family and friends who call this new person an imposter, is trying to simulate the person that they knew and loved. So it is perfectly understandable in many levels that people who are close to us have the greatest degree of difficulty in accepting what it is, or understanding even what it is that we are going through. So I did explain that you're very lucky to have a mother that is supportive of you, and you both would be well advised to seek professional help to help you both through this. And so he basically agreed with that. He did say that he was seeing a transgender therapist here in Toronto. We are very fortunate in Canada, and in particular in Toronto, in having some amazing resources available to us in terms of professional support groups and other forms of development that other parts of the world certainly, and certainly other parts in the United States, don't have that luxury. So we're very fortunate in Toronto, Canada, to have that. And I do have a whole wealth of contacts, both here and in the United States, with regards to support, professional help, surgeons, endocrinologists, and support groups, conventions, and other groups, social groups as well. So the individual then proceeded to really talk about, well, I'm not sure if I pass or not. And so I said, well, if you don't mind, we'll go over what you think your facial presentation looks like, and we can sort of break that down and talk about it. So I asked him what things that he thought were okay and what things that he needed to work on. And so essentially he gave me a very brief and sketchy, he said, well, I don't really know. Maybe you can tell me. So I said, well, I'm going to be very honest about what it is that I'm seeing. And so we went from everything from hair to eyebrows to eyes, nose, mouth, lips, chin, jaw, and overall facial structure in such a way that he was very much pleased with the sorts of feedback that I was giving him, basically telling him that he had a very, very good face in terms of being able to make very minor changes in terms of cosmetic and possibly surgery to be able to pass very, very well. I did suggest that we have another session where I provided a very full makeup application, and not only provided the application but explained the products to be used and explained what and how to use them. We can often go to the store and spend several $100s on buying products from a very beautiful cosmetic technicians behind the counters who know how to make beautiful women look more beautiful, but a lot of that makeup may very well be wrong in terms of what we're trying to achieve. So I did suggest that the amount of time that you spend with regards to finding someone that can give you the sorts of image, the image that you are trying to achieve, is money and time well spent. So I suggested that he basically find images in magazines, etc., bring them to me, and then we would do a full transformation, which usually lasts between an hour and a half and 2 hours, and we would try different hair colors and shapes, lengths, and etc., that would be suitable. We would definitely try to demasculinize a lot of the features that he had, including a very prominent eyebrow, including a very prominent jaw, including lips that were very nondescript and non-feminine looking, to enhance those cosmetically. I was also, in addition to providing support in terms of, or suggestions with regards to cosmetic, I was also providing suggestions with regards to surgical procedures. There are quite a number of surgeons in the United States who are excellent facial feminization surgeons, who many of them I know on a first name basis and have had work done myself, and have been able to provide very unbiased and objective opinions about the types of procedures and the types of results that you can have. There were very little surgical recommendations that I had for this individual. He was very pleased to hear that, and some of the surgical procedures that I was suggesting were very affordable, very easy to do, and would achieve a great deal of results. And I gave demonstrations as to how to look at the face in such a way as to what it would look like after surgery. So we have tentatively planned to have a session where I do a full transformation. And not only is it about face, but I suggested that we go even further in terms of being able to work on body posturing, the selection of clothing, basically the image that was being presented, breast forms, natural breast forms, corsetry, any sorts of feminizing, body feminizing, contouring that needed to be done to be able to make a very straight up and down or V-shaped silhouette look much more hourglass. In addition to that, the selection of clothes, in addition to the overall visual appearance, which I call the presentation or the number 2 factor on my site, Sexuality Identification System, there were a number of behavioral things that needed to be addressed, such as how to sit, how to talk, how to hold your hands, how to come across as being more feminine-like. And this can include sitting, getting in and out of a car, walking across a room, etc. And each one of those can be lessons that could easily take time and effort to explore and develop. So it's clear that you can see that the amount of things that could be covered during one of my sessions, or a session where an individual is really moving forward and I'm assisting the individual in that process, can be very complex, it can be very involved, and can require a great deal of work. For example, voice. Voice is one of the hardest things to get, and it is basically like learning how to sing. You have to stop doing what it is that you're used to and start doing a whole different form of audio projection. And I do have some very, very effective techniques in being able to help anyone that's interested in voice training as well. Voice training is probably one of the most difficult and the last thing that most people in transition do. Well, anyway, essentially we had a very good session, and I think I'm looking forward to this individual coming back and moving forward. He did say that he was going to come back, and I'll let you know how that turns out. But in the meantime, I did want to share with you the sorts of things that we do talk about. This is only merely scratching the surface of some of the things that I really enjoy doing as a transgender life coach. So anyway, thank you for your time. I do hope that if you have any questions whatsoever with regards to your own transition, or if you do know someone who is in transition and needs help, needs support, needs someone to sort of talk to them like a big sister, that's exactly what I like doing. So please give me a call. I do have links on the site that you can connect with me. I'm very approachable and down to earth, and I love doing what it is that I'm doing. So anyway, I hope you take care and be well. Have a great day.